Is there a difference between hunger and food preoccupation? It really depends on who you're talking to, because these are just words used to describe certain feelings. Sometimes people use the word hunger to describe meaning you need to eat. But the reality is that hunger is a signal from your brain that makes you feel like you want to eat. So you might have a growling stomach, which is a signal from your body, but it doesn't matter. These are all signals from your brain. Your brain puts out hormones and thoughts and behavior and reactions, and one of those is hunger. And hunger pangs are like hunger pains. Pain comes from your brain. If your brain isn't functioning, you don't have normal pain sensations. And hunger is a signal from your brain, and it can get out of whack just like how your pain can get out of whack. So what's the difference between needing to eat and wanting to eat? The first thing to remember is that we probably don't need to eat very often, or at least in an emergency fashion. Our body is designed to be able to eat intermittently, to have meals and then have a space of time, a break from eating, where we're fasting for a short or a long period of time, and then we eat again. During the period of time when we're not eating, when we're fasting, we either use the food that we ate from the last meal, or we use short-term energy fuel that was stored in our muscle tissues or our liver. That's like a carbohydrate called glycogen. It's like a snack that's there and will last for about a day, or for a really big burst of energy like running from the tiger. Or you use your fat stores, of which humans have abundance of. We have a lot of fat stores. So you don't ever need to eat when you're hungry, unless maybe you're a diabetic and you've taken insulin or something like that. So that's a medical thing. Even when people say that they're hypoglycemic, that doesn't mean that they need to eat. That means that they're having symptoms that their body's in metabolic disarray. So hunger is a signal from your brain to remind you to eat, to ask, should I eat right now? And the reason that we think it's need to eat is that when you eat, the symptoms of hunger go away, but that doesn't mean that you needed to eat. Is there a difference between hunger and appetite, and hunger and food preoccupation? Well, a lot of times people used to say, it isn't really hungry, it's just my appetite. And what that means is your body is responding to cues in the environment and you just feel like eating. Your appetite has been stimulated by things that you see or other people eating around you, cues from the world around you. But this is really still part of hunger. We're human beings and we learn from our environment and we respond to our environment. So we start off only having internal cues, but that's about everything. Then we learn from the environment, learn how we're supposed to behave, and those tell us when it's appropriate time to eat. The biggest problem we have right now is that we have lots and lots of cues from the environment to eat, and we don't have much social restriction or containers around our food, so we feel like all the time it's appropriate to eat. We snack a lot. We're not eating intermittently the way that we're designed to do, and we're eating a lot of food that isn't really very nourishing, but it's very high in calories. So it gives us a lot of fuel, but not necessarily a lot of nourishment. Now, a bigger problem that people are facing today is that they're having a tremendous problem with food preoccupation. Food preoccupation means sort of the opposite of distraction. You have a thought rattling around in your head. You can't stop thinking about food. You can't stop thinking about what you're going to eat next, when you're going to eat next, about food that you know is nearby. So you might know, like you're at work and there's bagels in the break room or something, and you can't stop thinking about them while they're there. You go home from work and you think about what's in the cupboards. You open the cupboards incessantly. You open the refrigerator and you look. And even though you've eaten and you shouldn't be hungry, you feel this drive, this intense drive to eat. And sometimes it's a craving for a particular kind of food, but it doesn't matter. What we're really talking about is, why are you having food preoccupation? And food preoccupation comes when you are in fat storage mode from your hormones and you're restricting your eating. So you are trying to lose weight while you're still in fat storage mode. That's the most common reason that we have food preoccupations. Another reason that we have food preoccupation might be because we are overfueled, but we're still undernourished, we're still malnourished. And that comes about because we don't eat real food. We're eating a lot of food facsimiles. So our body is still looking for nourishment, for the building blocks that we need to make the chemicals our bodies needs, makes the structure and that we need to keep building and repairing all the tissue in our body on an ongoing basis. And those building blocks come from our diet. And if we're not getting those building blocks from our diet, if we're having deficiencies, even if they're mild, we might have very intense food preoccupation to try and get those. So your brain is made mostly of fat, and all your cell membranes are made of fat, but they're made of a particular kind of fat. So we might have a very intense drive to eat fat and seek it out, but the fats that are in our environment, they're unnatural. So our body is telling us to seek out fat, but nature really didn't have the kind of fats that are available in the environment right now. So these fats are new and they're manufactured, they're sort of synthetic, and they are not cutting the mustard, so to speak, with some people, because they just aren't fulfilling this need. So they're used to put into the structures of your brain and in your membranes, but they are not what your body would like to use optimally. So there'll be a little bit of difference from person to person. So some people have very, very intense food preoccupation, and some people don't have any at all. And then it's very easy for them. So it's easy to avoid temptation when you're not being tempted. But if you're having intense food cravings and food preoccupations, it's really, really difficult to hold your resolve for a prolonged period of time. What we really need to do is get rid of those food preoccupations, and the best way to do that is to get your hormones in balance so that you are no longer in fat accumulating, fat storage mode.